Thank you, Gaynor, for taking the time and doing this. Can you just introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about your role?
I am the Senior Manager of Diversity and Inclusion for Loblaw Companies Limited and have been with the organization for 2 years, but have probably close to 20 years experience working in the public-private sector in diversity and inclusion.
Why do you think that the executives believe that D&I is such a huge importance in the corporate world?
You look at the population we're serving and you very quickly learn that we have a very diverse population in Canada. And because we're very much a customer-facing organization, the executive really does recognize and acknowledge how important it is that we reflect that in our workforce, and to have the perspectives and the experience and the innovation of individuals that are reflective of the people we're trying to serve. If we don't reflect them in our workforce, how can we really realistically respond to the needs of the customers that we're serving, and how can we help to elevate and drive the programs, the services, the products that will meet the needs of our diverse population. The implications from a reputational perspective, from a business perspective, when we're called out and we don't do that. And I think there is certainly an acknowledgement and understanding of just how important that is.
D&I is such a hot topic. Obviously, I believe right now that there might be some course correction. And so what are your thoughts?
We have to be careful that we're long-term on this, right? This isn't a short-term, and that we're sincere in what we're doing, because people will see through that, I think. And be careful not to be too reactive to the point that it's not sustainable. And it can do more harm than good if people don't feel that there is that level of sincerity around what you're doing. You just do, training is not the be all and end all. It's not going to solve your problems, of your processes and your policies, and how you day to day operate is full of potential systemic barriers for people. Then it's not going to get you the results you need, and it could end up being quite offensive and counterproductive for people, I think.
What tips do you have for other professionals?
Don't try and boil the ocean, right? Really think about what you can achieve. We found the champions in the organization. We found the champions at a very high level. So the leaders who are representative of those senior leaders of the executive teams, leveraging those champions to have a voice, and it empowers obviously other people to have a voice and to be involved. And the other thing I would say is to involve people who have the lived experience and can give that perspective, and give them an opportunity to also contribute to creating that culture of inclusion. Those individuals where they want to contribute, and enabling them and empowering them to be able to do that, and resourcing them to be able to do that, and validating their work through the voice of the executive team has been really important in achieving our success. You need to have a voice as an organization and leaders within that organization, and you need to be communicating that you are committed to being a part of creating equity and a part of the solution, and you need to show that and demonstrate that you're doing it through your actions. And if you don't, you will be called out, and people will take notice. And I think people will act. They'll act even more so now than ever before with where they spend their money, with how they who they decide to work for. It's the expectations are much higher for organizations and leaders, as they should be. Organizations need to step up.
Thank you, Gaynor, for taking the time and efforts to do this interview. Thank you, Gaynor.
You're welcome. Anytime.